Hello, fellow swine. Your lord has returned. And today, I was thinking about talking about what I do for a living, while I'm not making videos or down the old style with my brethren. I work as the friendly neighborhood drug dealer, making the best espresso this side of Milan. By day, I am a barista, and I tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly things about the job. First off, if this is the first time job for you, the pay is rather good. Most coffee shops will pay above the minimum wage, plus more depending on your area. For me, it wasn't my first job, so when I left, an awful minimum wage job. This was a pleasant surprise. So for a job that involves shift work, the pay is really decent. But there is a massive trade-off. The hours are horrible, but they don't have to be. When you're young and walk into a job interview, the employer may try to pressure you into working earlys, lates, or the devil's creation, a split shift, which should be illegal. Plus, on top of this, you will likely have to work weekends. And when you're young, nobody wants to work them. I am lucky in my case. I work in an office building where you don't work weekends, so I flew skywalkered myself in this situation. So my advice when going to an interview would be to go in with a plan. And don't be afraid to say no. Have a routine in mind that you want to have. Be prepared to compromise. For example, work one weekend day a week instead of having both off, but lay out you want structure. You don't want to finish at like 9 p.m, then have to be up at 6 a.m. the next morning. It really gets you down. These jobs have massive turnovers anyway, so they will most likely take anyone on. So hours can be good or bad, it really is on you to make it work. Just don't be afraid to say what you want while being polite, of course. Okay, the fun part. When I first started being a barista, I was learning how to make coffee, and for the most part, it was fairly easy to learn, but hard to get consistent. While dealing with the pressure of customers and having to keep up with the speed at first, you won't feel like it is possible. But with a bit of practice, it all comes naturally. Depending on which one you work at, you will be more involved with the process, and some, it is mostly done by a machine. Learning the ins and the outs is the best experience as a whole. I have reached the level of an ascended swine, so now I can do it without thinking. But this didn't happen overnight, so just practice. Also, never feel tempted to give a bad cup of coffee. These customers are paying their whole life savings for their fix. And if they don't like it, some of them will complain. And not all, but some are complete butt punchers, and will be really rude, which will apply more pressure than you needed. In the first place, you're essentially making a gamble that they won't come back to save time, when overall, if you simply made them wait a bit longer, sure they will get frustrated by this, but once they sit down and have their fix, assuming they are reasonable, they'll be more appreciative of your actions, which will breed some respect between the both of you. You're probably thinking, who cares? It's not like I see them again, which is completely incorrect. They'll come back. They always come back, trust me. When I first started, I was there for money. I didn't care about anything else. I actually hated talking to people. About 6 years down the line, I can honestly say that the customers are my favorite thing about the job. They come in, they ask me about my day, and they do seem like they all really care about what I say. But this wasn't always the case. I'm not lying when I say you will meet the absolute worst that humanity has to offer. Some people that you serve are foul. They don't care about you, or your 10 cats, or if you live or die. They care about them and only them. There could be many reasons for this, but none of them matter. My advice here would be to serve them quickly, unless they are being completely rude. If so, just refuse to serve them, or tell the manager to deal with it. That's always the easy option. Either way, you don't have to take rubbish from anyone. And another thing is, even though you get along with some, don't be mistaken, they are not your friends. One of the nicest customers I knew was also one of the first who shouted and swore at me. So don't get mixed up. Some of these people are complete animals. I have seen the things that some of these people do in the toilet, and I really hope they don't use their bathrooms in the way they use public ones. The best therapy money could buy will not cure you of seeing these things, so be prepared. Now, your team are your family. You stick up for each other like a unit. You all have a common enemy, so you only have each other in the end of the day. But in my experience, there is always one person, no matter where you work, who is a complete knob. They might drag their heels, get moody if they need to work, or just call in sick to the point where you might think they have died. All I will say is, don't cover for them. They won't give you the same kindness. And if they are making your life harder than it needs to be, then just tell the manager. You aren't doing them any favors by not telling them, as they will never learn otherwise. Finally, one thing I have noticed after doing this job for a while is that the people in the head offices tend to have this huge disconnect from reality and store life. Life will be hard enough, but then they implement stupid changes that no one would ask for, such as the removal of newspapers in stores, as nobody reads them anymore, even though most regular customers are on the older side and tend to get their news that way. This was a decision that we reversed quite quickly, or cutting staff on shift in half. So some days on the weekend, you might have 2 people instead of 6 at the busiest hours, because they think 2 people is perfectly fine. On top of this, then adding online ordering, which allows delivery services, or anyone really, to jump the queue. They are a business, so they are running it as such, but I feel that this has only hurt their brand going forward. I have got a lot out of this job. I have a skill I can use anywhere in the world. I have much better social skills than I used to have, and I'm much more confident. I also can deal with being under pressure in more situations. But if I told you I love my job, I would be lying. I'm grateful for what I have learned, but I don't love it. I would only recommend it to people who are willing to work hard for a fair price, but know you might not enjoy every aspect of it. But there is still a lot of good you can get out of it. But I wouldn't get comfortable. Stay focused on your goals and work there for a while. If you stayed this long, I would like to thank you. I wasn't sure what to talk about today, so I thought I would just talk about me for a bit. If you're feeling like supporting the channel, a subscription would be welcome. In the next video, I'll probably talk about Baldur's Gate 3. I only just picked it up, and oh my, it seems perfect. Anyway, till next time, fellow swines.